October 20. They thought it was just another day, until the signs started. Archangel Michael wasn't coming to warn them this time. He was coming to fulfill. October 20. A date circled not by human hands, but etched into eternity by the divine. It was never meant to be ordinary. It was never meant to be another mundane passing of time. No, it was marked by the heavens long before you were even born, long before nations were formed, long before the clocks of men ever began to tick. This day is not a coincidence. It is a convergence. What many have dismissed as just another sunrise, another Friday, is in fact a divine appointment hidden in plain sight. The realm of spirit has long been watching, counting, and preparing for this moment. October 20 is not the beginning of something. It is the activation of something that has already been spoken, already been promised, already been sealed in the courts of heaven. The countdown has not just begun. It has ended. We are no longer in the space of warnings. We are standing in the space of fulfillment. And now, the silence that once hovered over the spiritual landscape begins to crack. But it is not a silence of absence. It is the silence that falls before a verdict is read. It is the quiet that surrounds the courtroom when the judge rises. It is the breathless hush before justice is announced. That is where we are now. Not waiting, watching. Not guessing, receiving. Archangel Michael, the commander of heaven's host, no longer bears words of caution. He does not come with echoes of delay. He now carries the execution scroll, the scroll of divine verdicts, long overdue. The warnings were yesterday. Today is different. Today is the moment where heaven says, now. But hear this truth. Not all will feel it. Not all will sense the change in the wind, the tightening in the air, the weight upon the soul. Only those who are attuned, those who have obeyed in the silence, who have felt the stirring in the midnight hour, will understand the weight of what has begun. To the distracted, it will look like coincidence. To the chosen, it will feel like alignment. This message is not for all. It is for the watchers. It is for the ones who know in their bones that something sacred is shifting, that heaven is settling old accounts, and October 20 is the threshold where heaven's silence turns to movement. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now activated. By the dawn of October 20, a celestial gate opens, one that has been sealed for generations. This is not poetic allegory. This is not metaphor. This is a declaration from the throne room. A spiritual gate, once closed by divine timing, has now swung open by divine fulfillment. And with its opening, all that was once withheld, restrained, or delayed is being loosed. You have not just entered a date, you have stepped into a divine dimension. The voice of the Lord rings out with clarity across realms. The time of warning is over. Fulfillment begins. The atmosphere has shifted. The angels know it. Creation feels it. Even those who walk blindly beneath the heavens can sense something in the air, heavier, thicker, charged. It is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is the weight of divine enforcement coming down upon the earth. Archangel Michael, heaven's enforcer and commander of righteous war, descends not with a trumpet of caution, but with a sword of conclusion. His presence no longer signals delay or repentance. It signals resolution. This is not a message of pause. It is a message of motion. And it is already unfolding. In the hours and days ahead, the signs will multiply. Those with discernment will feel the walls close in on unresolved matters. Dreams will become vivid, all is too vivid to ignore. The atmosphere will bear witness. Conversations will shift. The earth itself will begin to echo with the sounds of divine closure. But understand this message is not for the casual believer. This is not for those who only pray when problems arise. This is not for the lukewarm, the distracted, or the double-minded. This is for the marked, the watchers, the awakened. This is for the ones who heard the whisper in the wilderness and obeyed, even when nothing made sense. For them, the reward is not just coming, it is being activated. In the next 72 hours, says the Spirit, you will know who truly walks in light and who merely mimics it. The masks will fall, the false alignments will fracture, and those who have operated in shadow will find themselves exposed by divine timing. It is not judgment, it is exposure. Not as punishment, but as separation. The wheat from the tares. The appointed from the opportunists. The sent from the self-appointed. The earth itself groans as if it remembers a forgotten covenant. Something ancient has awakened. Something holy has been triggered. The words once spoken in secret between you and God are no longer just promises. They are now blueprints being unfolded by angelic command. You are not being summoned to panic. You are being summoned to awareness. Heaven is not sounding an alarm. Heaven is unrolling the scroll. The verdict is being read. Archangel Michael stands between realms, his eyes blazing with assignment, holding the scroll of fulfillment, waiting for one command from the throne. Now, the heavenly court has convened. The judgment is final. The only question left is, are you aligned to receive what has already been settled? Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. Strange things have already begun. And if you're honest, you felt it. Whispers behind closed doors. Unspoken tension in familiar places. Sudden withdrawals from people who once called you friend. Your spirit is being stirred before your mind can even understand why. This is not paranoia. This is prophecy unraveling in real time. The shift you feel is not imaginary. It is not emotional instability. It is the weight of the divine pushing through the veil. The spiritual realm is no longer quiet. It's moving, and it's shaking everything that pretended to be secure. There are people watching you, pretending not to see what's happening around you. But they know. Oh yes, they know. They know something is shifting over your life. They feel the disruption every time your name is mentioned. They sense the change every time you enter the room. Some are offended. Some are confused. But all are aware, even if they won't say it out loud. And heaven whispers this to you now. They thought you were isolated, but I have hidden you in plain sight. What looked like abandonment was actually preservation. What felt like rejection was divine redirection. You were not forgotten. You were concealed, not because you were weak, but because your revelation had a set time. And now, the time has come. That's why the tension is rising. That's why you've been restless. That's why you can't explain what's happening in your soul. You are standing in the birthing room of fulfillment, and the contractions are spiritual. This emotional disruption isn't chaos, it's calibration. God is aligning your spirit before your eyes can fully see it. He's breaking your attachment to places and people that can't walk with you into this next fulfillment. Every awkward conversation, every misunderstood silence, every sudden resistance, it's all part of a spiritual filtration system. Heaven is separating the loyal from the leeches, the divine from the disguised. This isn't just energy, it's prophecy coming to pass. Sleep has become warfare. You wake up with tears in your eyes, your heart racing, and your soul unsettled. You wonder if you're under attack, but what you're really feeling is heaven reordering the environment around you. You've entered a season where discernment is more valuable than explanation. God is no longer allowing you to pretend that things are normal, because they're not. Not anymore. Even your silence has become strategic. You've been pulled back from platforms, from circles, from rooms where your name was once celebrated. But that silence wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Heaven hath been holding its breath, waiting for October 20. And now the day approaches, and the pressure is building. But don't be deceived. The confusion isn't your enemy. The silence isn't your failure. It's the sound of the divine sword slicing between what was and what will be. And if you feel like everything familiar is acting strange, it's because God is now making the unseen felt. What others call a shift in energy, heaven calls spiritual separation. And what feels like emotional warfare is actually heaven's way of marking your territory before fulfillment hits. Your discernment is not dysfunction. It is direction. And your discomfort is not disorder. It is the signature of destiny wrapping itself around you. Pay attention. The signs are not random. The resistance is not accidental. Every disruption is a breadcrumb. Every disturbance is a declaration. You are not being undone. You are being unmailed. Type "I am hidden for glory" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3030 is now surrounding you. If this word is piercing your spirit, it's because your soul recognizes the hour. The season of silence has passed, and now God is calling His people into action. You can help us carry this fire to others by sowing into the mission. Your support doesn't just help a channel. It releases the word to reach the ones still caught in darkness. When you give, you're placing seed into spiritual ground, a field ready for harvest. Just like the rivers of living water flow from the throne, your giving becomes a stream that touches souls you may never meet. The link to support through PayPal is in the description below, and for those who want to go deeper, you can now join us through YouTube membership or Super Thanks. I felt led to say this directly. If you've been blessed, now is the moment to be a blessing. You're not just donating, you are activating obedience. And as you sow, may the God of divine reversals multiply it back to you in peace, provision, and power. Step into the river. So like the heavens are watching, because they are. This is not ordinary warfare. This is not emotional drama or the usual strain of daily life. What you're facing, what you've been walking through, it's deeper, darker, and far more strategic than you realized. The enemy has not been attacking your comfort. He's been assaulting your calling. The opposition has not come to distract. It has come to disqualify. But here's what the Spirit reveals. Your conflict is not a coincidence. It is a confirmation. The battles you've been enduring were never about what you lost, but about what you carry. You felt the pressure mount, the resistance intensify, the confusion swirl, and at times you questioned, what did I do wrong? But child of light, it's not what you did wrong, it's what you're about to walk into that has provoked the fury of hell and the movement of heaven. Do not be deceived by the form it takes. It may come through people, policies, delays, denials, but make no mistake, it is spiritual. It hath been camouflaged in coincidence, but the Spirit of God says, this is war, disguised in the mundane. The missed opportunities, the sudden betrayals, the silence from those who once applauded you, this is the sifting. And heaven is allowing it, not to break you, but to reveal you. Because pressure reveals purpose, and where there is pressure, there is proof that something divine is incubating. You have not been under attack. You've been under divine investigation. Heaven has been watching how you endure, how you hold your posture, how you keep your spirit aligned even when your surroundings collapse. Not just what you do in victory, but how you carry yourself in the midst of battle. And now, Archangel Michael steps forward again, not with a call to arms, but with a command to stand. You are not being asked to fight. You are being called to stand in silent authority. Do not retaliate. Do not explain. Do not engage in carnal warfare. Heaven has already made its move, and your stillness is now your strategy. The enemy has been screaming lies into your mind, hoping to provoke you out of position, but heaven is testing your ability to be still in the storm. Because those who stand in silence will soon stand in settlement. You will not need to defend yourself. Heaven will bear witness on your behalf. There have been strange alignments. People connecting behind your back. Conversations happening you were never invited into. Plans forming to remove you, belittle you, misunderstand you. But all of it, has been allowed to reveal who was for you, who was just using you, and who never had the capacity to walk with you beyond this spiritual gate. God never allows resistance without reason. Every betrayal is a mirror. Every battle is a map. The greater the opposition, the clearer the proof that you carry weight in the unseen realm. You are not small. You are not forgotten. You are dangerous to darkness, and that's why you've been marked. But no weapon formed against you will prosper, because this battle is not yours. It belongs to the Lord. And while you hold your peace, heaven is issuing justice. The shift begins when you stop striving and start standing. The fulfillment begins the moment you decide that you don't need to prove anything to anyone, because your obedience has already proven everything to God. Type "I will stand" in silence in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4444 has now been dispatched over your life. Within 72 hours, says the Spirit of the Lord, the scales will tip. Heaven is not speaking in riddles anymore. The time of symbolism has ended. The veil hath been torn from the timeline, and what was once hidden in shadows is now marching into manifestation. What was whispered in secret is echoing into the open. There is no more delay. There is no more pause. The moment you've carried in your spirit, through tears, through warfare, through long nights of silence, is now at your door. October 20th was never just a date. It is the trigger point for divine enforcement. Some mocked the delay. They laughed at the stillness. They called it denial, failure, fantasy. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't discern, was that heaven was waiting for alignment, not permission. God does not respond to noise. He responds to divine timing. And that timing has now arrived. There are conversations being held behind closed doors, dissections being drafted in hidden rooms, plans being formed to ambush, to expose, to discredit what God has covered. But heaven laughs. The Spirit says, I allowed the trap so I could reverse the judgment. I allowed the storm so I could walk my people through on dry ground. Don't mistake this pressure as punishment. It is prophetic pressure, and it has an assignment. You feel it in your chest, the heaviness, the stirring, the unexplainable awareness that something is about to break. That is the weight of fulfillment bearing down on the natural realm. What you feel is the contraction of prophecy. It's not to harm you. It's to birth what hath been withheld. Archangel Michael's descent is imminent. He does not arrive with gentle reminders or comforting whispers. He comes with authority. He comes with the finality of heaven's decision. The blade he carries gleams, not with threat but with execution. He is not here to warn. He is here to enforce. What was written before the foundations of the earth is now being fulfilled before the eyes of men. And the Spirit declares this: the confrontation is not to destroy you, it is to reveal you. The heat is rising not to burn you, but to purify the stage. What has been hidden in you will be seen. What hath been misrepresented will be revealed. What had been falsely judged will be reversed. And it will not be by your hand, it will be by heavens. Everything is shifting. The next 72 hours are not symbolic, they are spiritually strategic. Align yourself. Guard your words. Anchor your soul. Because once this tipping begins, there will be no slowing it down. What God has ordered will not be delayed another day. The clock has run out on your waiting. The countdown has shifted from patience to performance. And when it happens, it will not make sense to those who weren't watching. They'll say it was sudden. They'll say it was unexpected. But the Spirit says, to the obedient, this will not be a surprise. This is fulfillment. This is justice. This is completion. So brace yourself, not in fear, but in faith. The trembling in the earth is not danger, it's destiny. The rumble is not wrath, it's release. October 20 was not a warning, it was a signal. The moment heaven stopped holding back and started pouring out. Type fulfillment is now in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1919 is surrounding your life with divine order. Be still, heaven fights when you don't. This is the word for the hour. This is the command for those who are feeling the pressure rise, the noise increase, and the tension push to unbearable limits. Stillness is not weakness. It is a weapon. And in this season, silence is not retreat. It is strategy. The gates of fulfillment have opened, but with it comes the temptation to act out of fear, to respond in haste, to speak before heaven moves. Resist it. Refuse it. The Spirit of the Lord says, I will do more with your silence than you ever could with your defense. Withdraw from the noise. This is not the time to answer every critic, explain every silence, or respond to every false accusation. The moment has come to separate yourself not just from people, but from their projections. Not everyone is qualified to carry the weight of your fulfillment. Not everyone deserves access to the version of you that is stepping out on the other side of this spiritual gate. And not every battle is yours to fight. You are not being passive. You are being protected. The host of heaven, literal army of angels, has been dispatched on your behalf. They are not waiting for your cry. They are already in motion. You are not waiting for backup. You are already surrounded by fire. The war that broke out in the unseen was never for you to win. It was only for you to witness. And now, the captain of the Lord's army, Archangel Michael, leads the charge to secure what was promised. Heaven's protection is not fragile. It does not depend on your performance, your reputation, or your perfection. It surrounds those who obey, those who trust, those who posture themselves in surrender rather than struggle. And in this divine hour, the Lord is not asking for your effort. He is asking for your alignment. Can you be quiet when misunderstood? Can you stay hidden when provoked? Can you let heaven defend you without rushing to your own rescue? Repeat this declaration now. I am covered. I am guarded. I am hidden in light. Let it settle in your bones. Let it push back the anxiety, the fear, the urge to fix what only God can fulfill. Because in this season, protection is not in your activity, it's in your agreement with heaven's timing. What looks like passivity to the world is actually a posture of power in the Spirit. There are angelic assignments watching over your movements. Your name has been etched on the scrolls of fulfillment. Your obedience in private has triggered movement in heaven's courtroom. Even the attacks that came against you were overruled the moment you chose stillness over striving. Heaven's protection isn't reactionary, it is preordained. You have not been abandoned, you have been positioned. What seemed like a divine pause was actually a military placement. Heaven has put you where voices can't reach you, where distractions can't distort you, and where the enemy can no longer trace your steps. You are not lost, you are hidden for release. While the world reacts, you remain preserved. While others scramble, you are shielded. Not by accident, but by appointment. This level of protection isn't for the casual believer. It is for the call. For those who are willing to be quiet while heaven roars. For those who understand that divine outcomes are never produced by fleshly reactions. So rest. Withdraw. Watch it. Listen. The battle belongs to the Lord, and He is undefeated. Type "I am hidden" and God in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5050 now surrounds your life with angelic protection. You have survived the waiting. You have endured the stillness. And now, child of light, you are stepping into the becoming. This moment, this hour, this shift is not just around you. It is happening within you. You are not merely walking into a new season, you are rising as a new person. October 20th was not just a gate of divine fulfillment. It was a line in the spirit, a cut between your old self and who heaven has called you to be from the beginning. What couldn't kill you, crowned you. What didn't break you, built you. And what was meant to bury you became the soil from which your identity now rises. The fire didn't burn you, it refined you. The silence didn't erase you, it strengthened you. The separation wasn't punishment, it was consecration. You are not the same. The spiritual infrastructure of your soul has been rebuilt. You have been upgraded in the invisible realm. And though others may still see you through old lenses, heaven has already placed a new mantle on your life. Hear the word of the Lord. The old version of you cannot cross this line. The old fears, the old reactions, the old patterns, they no longer hold authority here. You have outgrown the grave they tried to put you in. The pain wasn't in vain. The process wasn't punishment. It was prophetic formation. You were shaped in the fire so that you could carry the weight of this fulfillment without compromise. You were hidden, stretched, pruned, not to reduce you, but to make room for the glory now descending upon your life. You are not a victim of warfare. You are the product of divine refinement. Heaven did not leave you in the dark. Heaven watched to see if you would keep walking when no spotlight followed you. And now, because you kept walking, because you stayed obedient when nothing made sense, you are being empowered in silence. Your confidence no longer needs applause. Your authority no longer needs validation. You carry something now that is heavier than titles, louder than platforms, deeper than approval. You carry proof, the internal evidence that you are still standing when everything else has fallen. Those who once overlooked you will now see the shift. Those who dismissed you will begin to sense the fire on your life. But let your rising be quiet. Let your glory be clothed in humility. You are not ascending to prove them wrong. You are ascending to fulfill what God whispered over your life when no one else was listening. You are now walking in quiet dominion. You do not need to force doors open. Doors will now recognize you. Environments will respond to your presence. Systems will shift when you speak. Not because of who you are, but because of what hath been activated inside of you. And here is heaven's final reminder. You were not delivered to impress. You were delivered to impact. What is on your life is weighty. What rests on your shoulders is holy. Walk carefully, speak wisely, and move with divine clarity. You are no longer being tested. You are now being trusted. October 20 marked your emergence. The fire refined you. The silence shaped you. Now rise, not in noise but in power. Type "I have become" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8484 has now sealed your empowerment in the spirit. There is a reason you've endured what others walked away from. There is a reason the storm didn't take you, the silence didn't shake you, and the separation didn't strip you. That reason is now being revealed. October 20 did not simply announce a shift. It activated the unveiling of your divine assignment. The Spirit of the Lord speaks. You were not delayed. You were being positioned. The battle you faced was not against your destiny. It was the final barrier before you were permitted to carry it. Every rejection was redirection. Every unanswered prayer was a holy detour. Every locked door, a setup for a divine entry that no man could open for you, because only heaven held that key. And now, the key has turned. The fulfillment is not random. It is not sudden. It is the scheduled unveiling of a long-hidden purpose. What you carried in silence, the anointing, the burden, the mantle, the promise, is now coming into full view. And not because you fought for recognition, but because heaven has called your name in the halls of fulfillment. Listen carefully. Your name has been spoken in the assemblies of heaven. Your tears have been recorded. Your obedience has been weighed. Your suffering has been sanctified. You have passed through fire, endured in silence, and now you are being revealed. This moment is not about fame. It is not about revenge. It is about fulfilling prophecy that was attached to your bloodline before you ever took your first breath. This is why the warfare was so intense. This is why the delay felt suffocating. Because what you carry is not common. What rests on you is not temporary. You were chosen to manifest the promises of generations. You are the vessel heaven waited for. You are the evidence of prophecy kept alive through blood, through time, and through obedience. And now, as Archangel Michael steps forward, his scroll is no longer sealed. The verdict has been read. The delay has been overturned. What was spoken over you, the dreams you had and couldn't shake, the visions that returned night after night, the words spoken over your life that made no sense at the time, it is all coming together. Heaven is now breathing on what once felt buried. You didn't miss it. You weren't passed over. You weren't overlooked. You were being perfectly positioned for this precise moment. Heaven doesn't waste obedience. And what you sowed in the wilderness, faith, trust, silence, surrender, is about to come back as visible reward. This is not the hour of wondering. This is the hour of witnessing. The doors are not just opening, they are responding to your identity. The environment is not just shifting, it's recognizing your authority. You are walking into spaces heaven has prepared specifically for the version of you that could only emerge through fire. The people who doubted you will not understand it. The ones who judged your silence will not recognize your rising. But that's not your concern. Your job now is not to explain. Your job is to walk forward with your eyes fixed on the one who fulfills what he begins. October 20 was not the end of waiting. It was the unsealing of fulfillment. Now, child of God, receive what heaven has already written in your name. Type "My name has been called" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7777 is now unlocking hidden purpose in your life. This message isn't just for you. It's meant to ignite others who feel lost, delayed, or forgotten. If something in your spirit leapt while hearing this word, it's because heaven is confirming your alignment with this divine assignment. You can help us carry this word to the broken, the weary, and the waiting. When you sow, through super thanks, membership, or PayPal linked in the video description, you're not supporting a channel, you're activating prophecy in others. The same anointing that broke delay in your life will begin flowing through your giving. The Lord says those who sow into the oil will receive from the oil. This isn't about helping, it's about releasing destiny. Your obedience in giving is part of the spiritual ripple that heaven is using to shake this generation awake. You have felt the weight of this moment, now move in it. Sow with faith. Give with boldness. Unlock what's next. Declare this now with your whole spirit. I align with divine fulfillment. Say it, not as a hope, but as a holy agreement. Ligat nadrum fearla convey. Because this hour does not respond to hesitation. It responds to alignment. It responds to the sound of the chosen standing in agreement with heaven's decree. October 20 was never about passive belief. It was always about prophetic obedience, and that obedience begins in your mouth, in your mind, and in your movement. This is the hour where heaven asks, will you walk like what I spoke over you is already done? Not later. Not someday. Now. Will you act like the doors are already opening? Will you speak like the promise has already been fulfilled? Will you respond like you've already crossed into the territory the enemy tried to keep from you? Because in this moment, agreement is activation. You are not stepping into destiny. Destiny is rising to meet your steps. Every movement forward is a prophetic act. Every time you choose faith over fear, action over delay, silence over justification, you are mirroring heaven. You are participating in prophecy. You are walking in the footsteps of what was ordained long before you ever knew what you were carrying. The heavens are listening. They are watching. And they are responding to alignment. Not perfection, not performance, but pure, surrendered alignment. There is a ripple effect that begins the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start moving because you believe you're chosen. There is a divine echo released when you speak what God said louder than what your environment is showing. This is not the season to blend in. This is not the season to overthink. This is the season to declare, decide, and demonstrate. God is no longer waiting for you to feel qualified. He is waiting for you to move in the identity He already clothed you in. You don't need another sign. You don't need another confirmation. You are the confirmation. Let every step you take from this moment forward declare, I am who God says I am. Let every action reflect that you have crossed the threshold of hesitation and stepped into the territory of fulfillment. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop rehearsing the pain. Stop replaying the delay. You are not stuck. You are being summoned. You are not behind. You are being called into acceleration. Acceleration responds to your yes, not your timeline, not your understanding. Your yes is the trigger. Your willingness to go where you've never gone, to say what you've never dared to say, to obey when it costs you everything. That's the agreement heaven is listening for. And once it is heard, the shift begins to gather around you like a whirlwind. Suddenly, what was closed begins to open. What was distant begins to draw near. What was withheld begins to overflow. But hear this now, you must move. This is not a season of watching. This is a season of walking into prophecy. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for applause. Walk as if the ground beneath your feet was already written into heaven's scrolls. Because it was. Faith does not wait for fads. Faith creates the path. And the ones who are willing to step before they see are the ones who will live in what others only dream about. This is destiny's call, not for the comfortable, but for the courageous. Now move, as one who knows that divine fulfillment is not coming, it has begun. Type I align and I advance in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 has been released over every obedient step you take. While the world sleeps, while the noise of men continues, while minds are distracted by headlines and chaos, something holy is taking place behind the veil. A silent exchange, a divine transaction, an invisible shift that carries eternal consequences. You cannot see it with your eyes, but your spirit knows it's real. That pressure you felt in the quiet moments, that restlessness you couldn't explain, it's been the trembling of the spirit realm as heaven negotiates on your behalf. Listen carefully. What was stolen in delay is being returned in fulfillment. While you waited, heaven worked. While you mourned, heaven measured. While you surrendered what you could not control, the courts of heaven recorded your obedience. And now, those records are speaking louder than any accusation that was raised against you. You are not forgotten. You were being prepared for divine recompense. This is not just restoration. This is reversal and reward. What was delayed is now being accelerated. What was once out of reach is now in motion. And it's all happening in the realm you cannot see, the dimension where angels move, where scrolls are unsealed, where destinies are finalized. The Spirit of God says, you do not need to fight for what I've already written in your favor. Be still, for the exchange is already underway. There are scrolls being rewritten, assignments being reassigned. There are things that were blocked because of previous disobedience, and yet, your repentance has triggered divine reconsideration. Heaven has not closed the book on you. Instead, heaven has opened a new chapter that only obedience could unlock. Your tears were not in vain. Your waiting was not wasted. Every sacrifice spoke a language only heaven understands. While others rushed ahead, you stood still. While others compromised, you remained faithful. And now, as Archangel Michael stands between realms, the exchange is happening. What belonged to you but was delayed is being released. The records are being updated. The balances are being corrected. There are angels who have waited for this moment, assigned to you, assigned to your bloodline, sent with instructions that could not be fulfilled until now. And now that October 20 has arrived, now that heaven has declared the fulfillment phase, the silent exchange is no longer pending. It's in progress. Do not be confused by the silence. Silence does not mean inactivity. In the spirit realm, silence is the sound of order being established. While you rest, angels war. While you sleep, transactions unfold. You sense the unease not because something's wrong, but because something is being made right. The natural world has not caught up yet, but your spirit is already reacting to the manifestation of what's moving toward you. You didn't miss it. You didn't lose it. What felt like loss was actually divine withholding. God was guarding what you weren't ready to carry until now. And the moment your spirit aligned with heaven's timing, the shift began. Quiet, holy, unstoppable. There are things that will fall into place in the coming days, not because you made the right call, but because heaven made the right exchange. Things will be restored without your effort. Doors will open without your knocking. Conversations will shift in your favor without explanation. You will be the evidence of a transaction that happened in silence, and the world will call it a miracle, but heaven will call it fulfillment. Type I receive heaven's exchange in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9990 has been released. What was withheld is now returning to you in fullness. The heavens have issued judgment, reversal is in motion. Not because men decided, not because circumstances changed, but because the courts of heaven have reached their verdict. For years, the scales looked unbalanced. You were misrepresented, silenced, overlooked. There were words spoken about you that you never had the chance to defend. There were hands that tried to manipulate what God placed over your life. And through it all, you remained silent. Not because you were weak, but because heaven commanded your stillness. And now, because you obeyed in the silence, heaven is responding with justice. Every false word, every scheme, every betrayal, every conversation you were excluded from, it's all been laid bare before the throne. And the Lord of hosts has declared, enough. No longer will manipulation masquerade as favor. No longer will the wicked succeed in cloaking themselves in light. No longer will the innocent remain buried beneath layers of lies and delay. The fire of divine justice has been kindled, and Archangel Michael has drawn his sword, not to warn, but to enforce the reversal. This is not poetic revenge. This is not emotional satisfaction. This is holy alignment. God is not acting out of wrath. He is acting out of covenant. What he promised you cannot be trampled on by the decisions of men. What he declared over you cannot be canceled by jealousy, politics, or religious manipulation. The justice of the Lord is not gentle when it comes to protecting the integrity of his word. And right now, that justice is burning through the atmosphere like lightning. What was done in secret is about to be exposed in the open, not to shame others, but to vindicate the righteous. The plots that were whispered in hidden rooms are now being broadcast in the realm of the Spirit. The people who tried to control your next season are about to lose access to your presence. The voices that spoke curses over your name are about to eat the dust of their own declarations. And it won't be your hand that brings this justice. It will be the hand of God. You will not need to retaliate. You will not need to make your case. The Spirit of God declares, I am your defense. I am your evidence. I am your final word. There is a divine exchange taking place. The robes of shame are being replaced with garments of honor. The ashes of your last season are being exchanged for crowns of oil and joy. The very places where you were once broken will become the very platforms of your rising. Those who turned away will turn their heads, not to praise, but to witness what only God could do. God's order is now replacing man's manipulation. Where you were rejected, favor will flow. Where you were denied, access will open. Where you were laughed at, respect will be restored. The reversal is not just spiritual. It will manifest in physical and visible ways. The promotion is not coming because of who you know, but because of what you endured. Heaven is settling accounts. The balance is being restored. And when the reversal is complete, it will be said, surely the Lord has defended them. Not because you shouted, not because you fought, but because you remained faithful when no one was watching. So stand still, chosen one. Justice is moving. Heaven is not debating. The gavel has struck, and the reversal is already in progress. Type I stand under divine justice in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3131 has now activated the reversal of every injustice assigned to your name. October 20 will be remembered as the day heaven fulfilled its word. It will not be remembered because of signs in the sky or noise in the streets, but because something eternal shifted in silence. This is the day the spiritual tides turned. This is the day the sealed scrolls were opened, the gavel struck, and the weight of delay gave way to the wind of fulfillment. What was prophesied in the quiet has now been manifested in power. You stood through the storm. You endured through the confusion. You were faithful through the silence, And now, heaven's declaration is clear. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. There is no more striving. No more waiting for permission. No more asking if you're ready. Heaven has already answered. And now, you rise not because you feel it, but because the time demands it. Let peace return to your house. Let clarity overtake the questions. Let the heavy armor of survival be replaced with a garment of fulfillment. You are no longer walking in warfare. You are walking in the aftermath of victory. You are the living proof that what God speaks, He finishes. Not one word He declared over your life will return void. Not one moment of your obedience will go unrewarded. Archangel Michael has finished the warning. The sword is no longer hovering. It has been executed. The enemy's access is revoked. The delay is broken. And the time of fulfillment is not coming. It is here. The season of watching is over. Now is the season of walking. The sound of heaven over your life has shifted from preparation to performance. What was once weighty prophecy is now becoming visible reality. This is your time. This is your testimony. This is your turning. So rise, chosen one. Rise without fear. Rise without explanation. Rise because the Spirit of the Lord says, it is time. Type fulfillment is sealed over my life in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2020 has now completed what began in prayer. This word wasn't just a message, it was a mantle. And if it reached your spirit, if it resonated in your bones, then heaven has chosen you to help carry it further. When you give, you don't support a voice, you sustain a mission. The call is urgent, the harvest is ready, and your obedience can be the very spark that lights someone else's awakening. God says, what you release will return in multiplied oil. You can partner with us through Super Thanks, YouTube membership, or directly via PayPal. The link is in the video description. Every seed you sow fuels the flow of revelation, warfare, and restoration to those who desperately need it. Do not delay. Step into this divine moment by giving as the Spirit leads. Let your offering become a prophetic act, a declaration that you're not just receiving this word, you're helping release it across the earth. Move with urgency. Sow with power. Watch God move.